Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and everything in between, above, below, and through dimensions, welcome back to the SCC. We're here with some games from EU for week 2. Pikarinoobs versus Belt Slap, which kind of really ruins my rhyme. My name's Blazy Butt, and I'm joined here by this beautiful man over there. That's AJ. How you doing, AJ?
I'm doing really well. And did you do that whole thing just to figure out which way the camera was?
Maybe.
Okay,
I just like on one side it's one way, on the other it's the other way, and it's just
yeah. It gets that way, but some good sets, like you did mention. Pikarinoobs 2 versus Belt Slap is going to be the first one we have up here. Certainly a David versus Goliath situation that we have on our hands, but don't forget, David did do quite well in week 1, unlike their predecessors in split number 3. They managed to defeat the Pappies in a 2-1 victory. The Pappies in a 2-1 victory. Now they're coming up against Belt Slap to see if they can build on that confidence.
For sure, and Belt Slap didn't have the best showing last week. They really looked a little rough up against Smiley Face coming out of that set last week, which I don't know if you remember, AJ, but we were up until 5 a.m. last week with those back-to-back 3-game sets. So that's going to be super interesting. Hopefully we're not up quite as late this time around, but let's have a look at these picks and bans for game 1 as we look to find out.
Indeed. It'll be interesting to see just how Pikarinoobs 2 adapt and whether Belt Slap do give any credence to this Tsukuyomi, which did prove a very big thorn in the side of the Pappies in week number 1. Because Rapio looked extremely comfortable on this pick. He looked like he was carrying the games on this pick. Just controlled the early game far too well for the Pappies to even deal with. And they didn't even give them a look-in at the late game stages. So the tier, take off the table straight away. You can't give Julio his tier. I imagine we may be seeing some contest about the Kali, about the Bakasura as well. Persephone, Morrigan maybe picks up as well. Morrigan less so as a pick, but Persephone definitely looking to be in the top set of picks and bans. Potentially,
although both of these teams seem to not really be enjoying that kind of sentiment. Belt Slap choosing to ban out the Ra first, and Rama being banned out by Pikarinoobs. Now, Rama has been very dominant in the meta at the moment, probably the best ADC on the table at this point in time.
I'd say so. I'd say him and Cupid definitely occupy the top 2. That matchup goes about 6-4 in terms of Rama, I'd say, simply because Cupid can't get the entire burst combo off, but can still do well by forcing the ult early. When the Nemesis taken away here by Belt Slap, they are really self-conscious here about Rapio's influence on the game, especially the early portions, and they also want to make sure that Trickstank is able to play his aggressive, no-nonsense, I'm going to pluck you 17 times in 2 minutes style.
For sure, and Rapio has been really, really good on this team. All the games that we've seen him in for Pikarinoobs and other teams as well, he's just been this driving force. I think that's really helped them out through the playoffs at the end of last split and through, last game, I guess, last week. But Jingwei is going to be the first thing to be picked in here by Pikarinoobs. Yamoja is still open, and there are a lot of really, really high-end picks on the table. Well, there's Yamoja being slid straight off of it. Belt Slap already having a very big advantage. You do not give Trickstank Yamoja.
Is it better to give him Yamoja or Sobek? Because if Pikarinoobs 2 take the Yamoja right here instead of the Jingwei, Belt Slap immediately respond with a Sobek and most likely the Guan Yu still. Guan Yu has been Julio's secondary go-to pick in recent weeks after the tier. But I just don't know about the Jingwei pick this early. I mean, yes, it's incredibly safe. It's not really going to lose lane. But I don't think it's going to win that lane too hard either. Unless you pair it with the Ymir, in which case you are pretty much likely going to get that pressure. But what can you really do with that pressure as a Jingwei? And it's not like you have the biggest poke-out potential out of any gods. Synergizes well with crit, but we're in attack speed style meta right now for ADCs. I just think the Jingwei pick's a bit early here for Pikarinoobs too, so they're holding on to something really that's just going to be a big wow factor, I think, in the next stages of the picks and bans.
For sure. Like, I gotta go with you. Like, Jingwei is not... I mean, sure, it's probably in the top 5 or so ADCs that we've seen in terms of pick or ban rate, but it's definitely not first pick material. Absolutely not, but Johnny's gonna be able to pick up the Ao Kuang here. And that's
Oof.
terrifying. I'm scared. Carly and Merlin are going to be banned out now from Pikarinoobs and Belt Slap, irrespectively. See what I did there? I got them wrong way, so I could be fancy and use irrespectively. But Tsukiyomi is going to be banned out, as you were talking about earlier. So no Tsukiyomi being able to be picked up by Pikarinoobs. I wonder what Rapio is going to fall back on, as Bakasura is still open.
Bakasura is open. If they were going to go for something a bit more his speed, then the Nike could potentially be a pick, but I don't really like it into the Alquan, considering you need to ult extremely early to get use out of that shield, otherwise he just gets to eat through it. Another option could be his Thanatos. He has picked Thanatos quite a lot when he was back in the SMITE Challenger circuit back when it was way back when, and it was also a pick of his back when he was in the Xbox Pro League. So it is a pick he is quite favorable towards. It's a pick he does quite well on, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does go to it. The Raichen pick, though, from Belt Slap, with Morrigan still on the table, shows that it's a decent pick. I like it. It does well against the Ymir because he's been able to get out quite easily, and I think that's why they have taken it, just so Zeros does get picked on here.
I think it also has pretty decent laning into the Thoth. You know, Thoth is very much this artillery kind of god, lots of range, and Raijin obviously doesn't have the same amount of range, but can kind of put in his own little bit of speed, can kind of match that a little bit. Both the monkeys being picked up here by Pikarinoobs, and final pick for Belt Slap is going to be the Cherno. Now, looking at these two team comps, I gotta say, Belt Slap is looking incredibly terrifying right now.
Belt Slap do look like they have a strong draft, but Pikarinoobs 2 early game composition here could spell doom for Belt Slap. If Pikarinoobs 2 get off to a fast start, like they probably should do with the pressure that they have in the solo lane and the duo lane, then Pikarinoobs 2 can look to try and run away with things. So it's up to Belt Slap to farm efficiently, play smart in the early game to just punish the fact that Pikarinoobs 2 don't really have such a strong late game.
Well, let's see if Pikarinoobs 2 can get off that early game. Let's jump straight into it, guys. Week 1, Game 1. Week 1? It's Week 1, I'm pretty sure. Game 1 of Week 2 is what I've been trying to say. Let's have a look.
You'll get there eventually, don't worry.
Well, one of these days, AJ, I'll learn how to speak English. Now, okay, I've noticed something already that I find kind of interesting. So both of these solo laners have picked up double sustain in the Chalice and Pots. Is that the new hotness over here in solo?
It's one that can be done very. It is a something that can have just loads of sustain in the early game for themselves.
Well, hopefully that can work out for them. I'm not really too familiar with this as a solo laner, ex-solo laner. Sorry, not good enough to play solo anymore. I'm
ex-solo lane here as well. Yeah.
Oh well, my name is Blazybard and I am a Slapfest-aholic. It's SA, right? Solo Laners Anonymous.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the whole point of getting the Chalice and the health potions is that you don't double stack your healing because they don't interact with each other the way they used to, but you get it just to keep yourself in lane for as long as possible. You're going to get your mana back from the blue buff most of the time. The Warrior's Blessing will give you some of it back as well as doing a bit of extra damage towards them. And that extra bit of poke potential and the less sustain that you have right now in solo lane will mean that your health potions should carry you over until you're able to get some boots.
That's really interesting. I never thought of it that way, but that's... Yeah, I mean, what is a solo laner if not I want to literally soak up all the farm possible? We'll have to get back to that lane in a little bit and see how they're going to get on. But for now, ladies and gents, we are going to have to throw you back to a quick break, but we'll be back shortly. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. We had a little bit of a hiccup, a little bit of a toothless. Yeah, that's what we're gonna go with. It's a How to Train Your Dragon joke. I saw your face. I just got
Yeah, I mean, I
hiccup
watched
and
that a long
toothless.
time ago. I've only watched it once, didn't watch any of the sequels, so that's just a big R/whoosh moment for me right there.
I was just trying to find another word to go into, but we had a little bit of a technical problem. But we're back now. Everything should be all hunky Dora the Explorer. Just had to.
We have to give you some form of limit these days of just how many references you can make, because you're going to start alienating absolutely everybody at some point.
I gotta do it. I gotta meet my recommended dose of cringe daily, otherwise I die. But speaking of dying, let's get right into game, where we'll hopefully see some deaths at some point.
I mean, there has to be, but don't forget, this is Europe. You know, we do tend to have a lot of farming going on before we eventually decide that it's worth to fight. We value our lives extremely well over here in Europe, rather than in North America, where it's, oh, we see an enemy, let's fight until they die.
Hold W is indeed the strategy that the US seem to favor. But going over here into the left-hand side, both supports have picked up that hog. Looks like they're gonna look for that harpy start. No, actually, Davy and Ulka choosing to go straight to lane after clearing that purple buff. Why do you think that is, AJ?
It's because it's a guaranteed pressure immediately, so they don't need to get that level 2 off the harpy straight away. They can look to get full clear of the wave, get every single minion available to them, and then come back for this Alpha Harpy, still get pressure, and be level 2 just the same as the members of Belt Slap.
Well, good for them. They are indeed going to do just that. Belt Slap already pushed under that tower line. This is a good look so far from Pikarinoobs, as we said. Really looking to put in that early game work and try and make something happen for them. But against this Yamoja and Cherno, now we talked about this a little bit last week, AJ. Cherno being one of those hunters that really takes a while to come online. But I feel like Yamoja, adversely, is a support who really flourishes in the early to mid game.
Yamoja is incredibly strong in the early, and because of the amount of poke that she has, the lockdown that she brings, and the fact that she doesn't need any form of mana sustain whatsoever, you can see that you can buy multi-potions on her, but you can't buy any mana potions or mana chance whatsoever. And that amount of poke that she can give out is really detrimental to any support looking to play aggressive and in the face of the opposition, like Alka is here.
Absolutely, being in the face is Elka's middle name, and he's going to take a lot of poke for it. Gets stunned by the Moonstrike beam. He's going to be kill number 1 already on the board, 2 minutes in.
Johnny.
Looks like Idavi's going to join him very shortly. Coming in is Johnny to pick up that little bit of a kill. A kill to his name this early on is going to make the Dragon King of the Sea very, very happy.
And that's one of the big downsides to having this high pressure lane when you pick up the Ymir. It's that you will pretty much 9 times out of 10 be guaranteed to be on their tower line, and that's just going to be enticing for an enemy jungle to come along, swipe up, and look for a gank, look for an early kill or 2. They didn't even need Johnny there to get those 2 kills, but he just comes along anyway in case the situation turned out to be a bit of a bad one for his team. You have to play a bit smarter if you're going to be looking to play this in the dual lane. Get the pressure, but look for things in the jungle. Put your pressure outside of your lane if you can.
For sure, that's one thing that I haven't really seen from them so far. We've seen them really push Belt Slap underneath this tower, but they've just kind of hung around there, you know, being like, oh, we can poke them now, but they don't really have that level of poke. So I completely agree with you when you say that they should maybe be looking towards this these Oracle Harpies, potentially looking to steal away the red buff or the purple buff when they come back up, but they've kind of lost that pressure now, so I'm not really sure if we'll see them have that opportunity again.
No, they can still look to avail onto this purple buff, but they are going to have to entice the help of Rapio over here. Rapio wants to get up to a fast start in the Sombats, wants to hit level 5 and make sure he's using that long ultimate cooldown as best as possible. Trickstang getting called out here. Rotation from Rapio comes out. There's the Fear No Evil as utilized, but it is a good use of Riptide, and again from Trickstang just to avoid that ultimate.
Good, I would call that beautiful. Saves the life of the support there. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for Pikarinoobs, as Ulka's going to get consumed by the Dragon King of the West Sea. I've already used that one again. Oh, dang it. By the big, scary, eatable noodle, who's going to take Big Frosty Snowman into the sky and claim number 3 for Belt Slap. Johnny on Ao Kuang. We talk about it pretty much every single time we see the man at all. But out of his 3 powerhouse gods, this is the one that you do not want to see him on. And Pikarinoobs are learning that lesson the hard way.
This is the one that he picks when he is going, right, I'm done, I just want to win, I don't care anymore. Yes, I'm going to farm for just a tiny bit, but then I'm going to come out swinging. Sometimes he doesn't even need to get that bit of farm. Sometimes he just comes out swinging from minute 1, and he's done so here already. 3 kills on Belt Slap, 2 of which are onto him, and he could have very well had the 3rd had he managed to get to the duo lane just 5 seconds earlier. Davey under a bit of pressure right now on the duo side, and this can be the issue with Jingwei. She can get the pressure and she can keep it quite well, but the second she's forced underneath her own tower, it's difficult for her to push back out of it.
For sure, she doesn't really have those like high priority clear moves. You know, once she can group up those minions that are walking towards her with the big chunky autos from the 2, and then get them all in the updraft, then for sure she can really clear. But when they're all kind of, well, as you said, in her tower, it can be definitely hard for her to clear it out. But everyone's going back to farming now, AJ. And what's going to be the next big thing for these 2 teams?
For Pikarinoobs 2, it's got to be look for an engage that they can take hard, because they have invested onto the blink onto Alka. He is basically a sitting duck every single time Johnny wants to use his ultimate. They have to look for a fight that they can win, and it could be over here on the blue buff. Engaged upon is Captain Oti, and out comes the Fear No Evil. Johnny falls down. He also elected for the blink, so no CC immunity for him. Great call by Oti and Rapio to defend that blue buff.
Absolutely, up into the sky. Most Wukong players in that situation would probably go, I'm half health, I don't really want to jump back into this dragon. But definitely the right call. They were able to just CC him to death. Johnny doesn't get a way out. And now, look at this. Rapio claims the lead. Is actually level 7 before Johnny. So this could be a really, really big boon for the Humbats.
Well, Rapio does like to try and farm by himself as much as possible, and that does give Pikarino a bit of farm to himself as well, but he is, he wants to set up the gangs because of that. Rapio is by himself, leaped down, no escape from the Riptide, from the crushing waves, and there it is, 2 kills on the side of Belside, put them 5-1.
Absolutely nothing to do, and look at this, Johnny's going straight back underneath the tower, tries to find the kill, but it's gonna get taken away there by Trickstank. No more kills for Mr. Johnny. He's unfortunately not going to be able to pick that one up for himself. But as you said, there's going to be 3 kills there for Belt Slap. And, well, Pikarinoobs, they're starting to look like they're having a nice fun time at the children's playground. And they've just jumped onto a very slippery, slidey slope.
Yeah, it's not the start you want to have, especially when, like we were talking about, they had a bit of an early game composition, bit of a powerhouse fight in that 3v3 in mid, and they just haven't got off to the races yet. That 3v3 in mid has not come through for them whatsoever, and it is not. It is allowing Johnny to get the farm that he is looking for very easily.
Now looking just to start farming around our Pikarinoobs. They're really, really starting to grasp at straws, as I said, falling down the slope. As Belt Slap over here on the right-hand side, looking to solo out Captain Oti is Julio, but Force is going to come up. Nothing's really going to fall down, and the solo laners are going to continue slapping each other until the end of time.
Yeah, I want to slap you, I want to get my farm, I want to get my minions, I want to go get a totem as well, and Julio's going to be a recipient of the totem. Interestingly enough, Captain OT does find himself with a level lead, but is still getting out-pressured. That's just due to the fact that Wukong doesn't have the same ability to sustain like the Guan Yu does, which is why you do see a lot of Wukongs going for the Soul Eater. Synergizes extremely well with his large AoE abilities.
Hold on, AJ, I'm going to have to stop you right there as the fight's breaking off over here on the right-hand side. Captain Oki already forced up into the sky as the crashing waves are going to come through. Big Fear No Evil hitting 3 people, but following up from that is going to be the final judgment. No damage, though, coming up onto Belt Slap. It's just not quite there yet. Captain Oti's going to fall down here as well, alongside his support, who already fell down slightly earlier. Now the taunts coming in from Zeros. Those drums are just bringing them back in like a siren to sea. Trying to run under tower now is Rapio, but there are 3 members strong here on Belt Slap, and they're not going to let this little monkey go. He should fall down here, but actually just about manages to eke through with the minions coming to save their god. Going to make Belt Slap have to rethink their strategy and potentially go for this mid-tower, but first, it's time to strip away their jungle.
Almost a quadra kill for Johnny, and the others just settle for a triple kill. You know the times we have to just settle for a triple kill as a jungler, as an Ao Kwong 9 minutes into the game. Oh, I guess a triple kill will do at this point. I could have had a quadra. Yeah, no one else does that apart from Johnny. The rest of the team just facilitates this aggressive playstyle of his. I mean, it was the aggressiveness of Pikarinoobs 2 that led to that fight. They're looking for that blue buff invade, because they think they have the opportunity to fight over on that right-hand side. Alka sacrifices his CC immunity to do so, just becomes a sitting duck. Yes, they manage to get a 3-man Fear No Evil, but everyone gets spread out from the Thoth Final Judgment rather than being pulled into it, which meant that it ends up hitting 1, maybe 2 people rather than all 4 that were over on the side for Belt Slap. And because of the fact that he's gone for this early game Divine Ruin, reduces the healing, sure, but doesn't have as much power like he would do with the Doom Orb, and doesn't have that percent pen to go through the tankiness that is Julio and Trickster.
My main problem with this early Divine Ruin, though, is like, I mean, who is Pikarino trying to stop healing that he's encountering in the early game?
Johnny.
I suppose so, but, I mean... Well, yeah, I guess I can't argue with that. Ring of Hecate is already online, those lifesteal boots. Okay, I suppose I can kind of see it, but speaking of seeing things, it looks like Trickstank is going to see a big mighty wall right in his face there, but once again, the damage just isn't there on the side of Pikarinoobs. Final Judgment comes through, but doesn't quite find the mark. Happy Riptide there from Trickstank. This man just feels, if not invincible, very slippery for a support.
It almost feels like the second he hears that, or like the millisecond he hears it even, it's just an instant 3 right underneath him just to make him go, alright, I'm not taking damage from this. And Pikarino has to know that that is coming out. He has to have a look at the Omi bar coming out from Trickstank, realize that he has enough for a Riptide, and just try and aim his ultimate a bit to the side to try and catch him out on that flight.
Really have to kind of aim that shot. It's like you're playing a shooter, right? With decent... bullet time. You have to try and lead that shot, making sure that you try and predict where it is that Trix is going to try and fly. But, I mean, hey, if he does that, Trix could just counterplay and go, well, I'm going to put it down the other way and backstep this time. There are a lot of options.
There are options, but if he keeps on firing where Trickstank is standing, it's going to just happen every single way. If he does something different, then there is a chance that he at least hits him. And if he gets that chance, then he gets into that mind game with Trickstank. If Trickstank then goes back in towards the rest of Pikarinoobs to avoid the Final Judgment, he's probably still dead either way then.
Absolutely. Ulka in a bit of a weird spot here towards the Gold Fury pit. He's going to try and do a little bit of damage to Trix, but Alka's going to come in, but luckily, Alka isn't really too scared of it. He's just going to walk out nice and easily there. That was a bit of a weird play from the Snowman.
A little bit, but at the same point, it's just farm at this point for Pikarinoobs. Yes, they're 9-1 kills down, but if you have a look at the gold, they're about 3,300 gold behind. It's not that bad of a situation to be 12 minutes in when you're looking at the fact that they are 9 kills to 1. Everybody sees that massive kill differential and goes, oh no, it's game over. We can't really win a game at this point. Let's just think about what we're going to do in the next one. But if you stop to really see the differences, most of it is in the support. Most of it is Alka being behind. And I suppose Pikarinoobs is also behind. But outside of that, Rapio's only down a level. Captain OT has a slight, if any, lead whatsoever over Julio. And Davey, he's still level with Arkil, so he's still getting, you know, what a Jingwei needs to be done, which is stay even with their opponent and look to try and farm as well in that mid game.
Well, and he's doing such a good job of that he's in fact ahead of Arkil, as I believe you just said. But, yeah, for sure, looking at the actual values here, Pikarinoobs definitely still have a fighting chance, but it's whether or not they can...
Maybe not.
Potentially not. No, as Beltslap actually looking to steal away this Gold Fury here right under the noses of Pikarinoobs. They're going to do just that, though. No one in position on this blue side here, AJ. That 3.5k lead just became a pretty convincing 5k from Beltslap.
Yeah, I think I gave them a little bit of a caster's curse there. For everyone out there for Pikarinoobs 2, I wholeheartedly apologize. I hold my hand up. I will not say things are looking okay in a 9-1 situation for you ever again. In case this happens one more time, I can PayPal you some money as dividends, as you know, as a way of an apology for this.
It's damages. You're gonna pay them in damages, are you? For making
Arrears,
them lose
yes.
against Belslap. Amazing. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Because at least then, they might have a little bit of a lead on Belslap if they add that little bit of damages to their current gold situation.
Yeah, I mean, that just happens because Belslap have ward coverage, they have Oracle Vision, they see somebody back in mid lane and go, well, might as well try it, see if anybody else rotates and tries and takes this from us. And the second nobody turns up when it's down to about 3k, they go, okay, well, guess we're just taking it. They were 100% looking for a fight there. But the second no one turned up, no one turned onto the ward surrounding the entrances from Pikarinoobs to the Gold Fury, it was just a free objective.
For sure, Belslap definitely start that going, okay, well, we're gonna just start this, and if they come in, then we'll kill them, and then do the Gold Fury. But, as you said, they just instead decide to take the free Gold Fury for themselves, and then everyone goes back to farming until Belslap inevitably take the Pyromancer, just completely under Pikarinoobs' noses once again.
But a good thing for Pikarinoobs too is that it's, you know, it's slowed down the pace of the game right now. Yes, the Gold Fury does quicken it up, but everything else is still within their manageable reach. Speaking of reach, Trickstank takes about 1/3 of his health.
And so, the both of the junglers, Pikarinoobs pop directly onto the ground as Rapio barely escapes with his life there. Johnny forced to go and try and heal off of these mid-harpies, but trying to do a little bit of poking is Pikarinoobs, but 4 members strong are Belslap, and they're not really going to stand for it much. Fight is just going to fizzle out here by the looks of things, and everyone's going to go back to, stay with me now, AJ, farming the things.
Hey, Farming Simulator 2020, or as it's known, European SCC. So Soul Gem is going to be built up here for Zeros on the Raijin. Honestly, I think this is the best mage item in the game right now. Maybe outside of Doomorb, but Alka wishes he had something similar to that. Because he's just cannon fodder once more. 0 on 5 sitting out there for the Ymir. Not so great, but back to Soul Gem. 80 magical, as you see coming out from the stats there, 80 magical power, 150 health, 12% magical lifesteal, and 10% CDR. Because pretty much everything you want as a mid lane mage, great Riptide. That is just unbelievable.
Yeah, unfortunately, mid lane mages aren't quite made equal. Pikarinoobs going to get picked off here by Belslap just completely diving, although they could trade out Trickstank here thanks to a good heal from Julio, though. He is going to survive. Look at this. He's just taking no damage. Overhead smash isn't able to finish it off, but the Brawler's Beat tick is applied. Less healing for the Emoja, but it's not going to matter when she's too far out of range for anyone to reach her. She's going to get out just fine, and now Belslap looking like they're on the offensive. They pick up the tier 1 in left, and the tier 1 in mid.
Yeah, as you saw from Alka there, that was Farming Simulator 2020 Deluxe Edition. Just looking to push some minions down at the tower, get the structures for your team, and walk away with not really contributing to the fight, but he didn't really need to. Just ults up in place and back down for a bit of slows for the rest of the team. Just allows them to, control the fight a bit easier. They don't need him there for the rest of that fight because it was one-handedly. The second Rapio was forced back to base early, and the fact that Alka just got picked off completely isolated.
It's also a shame that Rapio had to pop his ult right underneath his feet. Just a few more centimeters forward, and it would have caught 2, maybe 3 members of Belslap off guard with that Fear No Evil. Potentially give Pikarinoobs a chance to recover, but speaking of recovering, this Pyromancer on half HP before the rest of Belslap are able to respond. Alka already falling down by the looks of things. As looks like Zeros is going to take credit for that kill. Now charging forward is Julio. Looks to get the stun onto the Humbuds, but not quite going to find it. Jump Away is going to find Rapio safe. Now Belslap looking to strip away this jungle and go back onto the Pyromancer. As I said, as I predicted not 5 minutes ago, it's fine. All right, never mind then.
I mean, they have an outpoint, so it is entirely possible they could do this extremely quickly. Already down to about 10% health, 1% health, and it's gone. It's already gone. Oh, Riptide almost catches out Pikarinoobs there, but he manages to get away, squeeze through that little gap in the jungle, and well, it's not looking so good. 9-1, it was looking fine. 12-1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SCC. Hi, AJ.
Hi, Blazy. Are we sure we're going into this and not another mini transition? Like you just tried to commentate over just then?
Listen, it's the first time we've had Stings and transitions since I started with SCC. Alright, it was a little confusing, but now we're here. We're ready to get into game number 2 shortly. Speaking of shortly, we got pigs and bands queued up right here, AJ. Game 1 was a bit of a disaster for Pikarinoobs too. What kind of things are we looking for them to change?
Step 1, don't pick Jingwei that early. Step number 2, don't pick Ymir. I'm telling you something.
Just
don't pick Ymir. Don't pick Ymir. No Ymir. Okay. Step number 3, maybe give Rapio something he's more comfortable on. I mean, the Hombats looked fine for him, but we've seen him excel so well at the Tsukuyomi. We've seen him do extremely well with the Nike in the past. He's done well on the Thanatos. It's a bit of an oddball pick, but he can still do extremely well in the jungle. Just give him something a bit more controlling in that early game than the Hombats.
For sure, yeah. I mean, the rest of the comp seemed really geared towards it, and we did see some really, really good Fear No Evils from Rapio. So, I mean, hey, I wouldn't be completely opposed to seeing him go back to it, but I completely agree the Ymir is not the play. Yamoja's going to be the first thing banned here for Pikarinoobs. They learnt their lesson. I'm waiting to see the Ao Kuang being banned number 2, unless they want to put Rapio on it, but is first pick really the place for Ao Kuang?
No, and I don't think Rapio's got a competitive enough Ao Kuang to really pick in this set. Don't get me wrong, I think he has the capability of playing pretty much any pick given to him, but this is not the sort of game you want to be testing the waters with a pick he's not really familiar and played with consistently like the Ao Kuang. So just take that off the table. Don't let Johnny get it. Maybe don't pick gods that will do bad into the Ao Kuang like what happened. That's why he picked it so early on in the draft. Usually we see him take it 4th or even 5th pick. They picked it 3rd pick this time because he saw the fact that there was a Ymir, he saw the fact that there was a Thoth and a Qingwei, gods that historically struggle against the Ao Kuang, and he just realized, why not just take it now? Otherwise they're going to ban it.
And it worked out really, really well for him. I mean, I have no complaints. I want to talk about this Ra ban from Belt Slap. Why are they so scared of the Fire Chicken? I
mean, it's probably because Pikarino has a fantastic Ra on his side, and if you go back to the days of Dignitas, and when they faced up against Rival, or Cyclone, back when they were known as Cyclone, they really struggled to play against that team's Ra. Because they just constantly hard-focused the Ra. He lived for far too long during those fights. Even if they did end up killing him, they invested a lot of resources into him. So just maybe still not entirely comfortable with that playstyle, especially now that he's got those buffs, which means he is slow immune for the first 0.6 seconds after casting that flashbang of his.
I guess that makes sense, but AJ, it's been like 3 years. Like, come on. Ra isn't even... Wait, hold on. Before I get my facts wrong, is Ra meta now? Did I miss it? Is Ra now meta?
Ra is meta. Ra's meta.
Oh, gosh. Well, brilliant. Pikarinoobs are going to take Ra, and the Ula Ganesh is going to be the response to that. We're just going to move on. Oh, maybe not the Ganesh. The Ula is definitely going to be picked into it, but still waiting on that second pick here for Belt Slap. Guan Yu. Pikarinoobs are really loving this Guan Yu play. There it is. Guan Yu getting picked up once again by Julio, who was denied his tier by Pikarinoobs.
Yes, and there's a brilliant change so far from Pikarinoobs too. I mean, we saw Jingwei and Ymir as their first 2 picks. Not so great. Speaking of. But then this time round, Rama Tsukuyomi. Fantastic picks for them. Rama, as we mentioned, one of the best ADCs right now. Definitely top 2. Tsukuyomi controlled the games from last week when he was playing Tsukuyomi against the Pappies. Kukulkan into Kali, though. I mean, you're probably taking the Kali with you if you die, just because Tornado's in your ult, but you have to hope that you're not on the mark.
Really? Yeah. Kukulkan, like, okay. Pikarinu has some interesting picks.
He loves snipes.
He does like his snipes.
Yeah.
But, okay, just to rattle off a few who are still on the board. We've got Chiron. We got Neath, because, you know, ADCs are meta in the mid lane now.
That's too easy of a snipe, though. There's no flashy plays to have with the Neath.
Okay, then pick the Giannis. Why does it have to be Kukulkan?
I mean, Giannis isn't particularly meta right now, to be honest, so I don't see picking that. Does synergize quite well with Tsukuyomi, though, so could have been the pick, but I don't think it's a god that he particularly has in his pool, so I just want to think... Okay. I mean...
Cabrakan
support as well. pointed out. Not going to be, most likely won't be. So, okay, I'm going to eat my words there. I'm no longer an analyst. Okay, that comedic timing 101. That is a complete clip right there.
Brilliant. Okay, so we got Cabrakan against Guan. I don't hate this matchup. Cabrakan can stun Guan out of the Tallow Assault if he times it properly. Guan doesn't really have a counter for Tremors other than just healing the minions and just shredding Cabrakan whilst he's in it. I'm not really sure I like it. I'm not gonna lie to you, AJ. I don't think Cabrakan's the play here.
I mean, I don't like it either, given that you have a look at the sides and you want to trap squishies with your ultimate. And who do they have? Ola, Kali, and Raijin. What do all three of them have? A leap. So the walls are just going to be useless. And Ganesh can dash through, and the only one you're trapping is a Guan Yu. Like, Guan is just going to go, right, I guess I'm ulting now.
And even if Kali and Ola don't have their jumps up, they are building into attack speed. So those walls aren't going to last very long unless you can really, really disrupt them with... What do they have here? Disarm from Suku. There you go. That's what they're going to do. We're going to throw it to game. We're going to throw it to game and see how this turns out. Hopefully it'll be better than it looks on paper. I have faith in Pikarinoobs. Cautious faith.
I do as well. This is a much stronger draft from them than they had in their last game. Trickstank going to get stunned out there to begin with. Ulka going to eat the same fate, but this time it's from Arkill rather than from Trickstank. Back into base is Captain Oti, and this is a start which I've seen done quite a bit on Cabrakan solo. We go over to his build right now. You can see he's got the tier 2 boots and blink. Now don't forget, whilst you're still in base, you can still buy items. You will still have that bit of extra speed boost up until about the 20-second mark. So he's going to buy full power boots before he leaves the base. Blinks out, gets to wave, gets the purple buff, gets the blue buff as quickly as he can. And he's not going to lose out as much as he would hope to. And he's going to have a lot of power, a lot of sustain and lane against the Guan Yu.
Well, maybe it works in that case then, because, I mean, Guan does struggle pre-level 3 once he's got all of his abilities up. And maybe I'd like to see some... Well, if they want this to work, I want to see Rapio really focusing on trying to invade the blue buff. Because if Guan Yu doesn't get blue buff early on, he's really going to struggle with that mana management, because he's a thirsty god.
He is probably one of the most mana-hungry solo laners out there. Outside of Hercules, I think is the most mana-hungry solo laner out there. But he's really a support these days. Just an aggressive, bully, roaming second jungle support. But Guan Yu is definitely that close second. If he doesn't have the blue buff in the early game, he is just out of it.
Well, it's going well for them already. Both side lanes have pressure and have pushed their laners under tower. You see it's happening over here in the duo lane, and over on the right-hand side we see very, very well played from Captain Oti, so we'll see how that keeps up, but as for everyone else, oh no, both the junglers are trying to rotate over here onto the left-hand side. Trickstack already missing a quarter of his HP, scratch that, 2/3 of his HP. He might find his way into a grave here, but Chelsea doesn't get popped. And he might find his way out, but oh my god, Davies' health bar just evaporates, and Rapio trying desperately to get that kill onto Trickstack and/or Arkle, but both of them are going to escape with just a slither of HP. Going aggressive now is Arkle, trying to find potentially return kill is Alka. Despite the threat the needle, finds the wrong target. I don't think anyone dies there, but Alka is certainly going to. As 3 members of Belt Plat just about survive, and both the dual laners there from Pikarinoobs are going to fall. Oh, and Captain Oti on the right-hand side!
No, how? Johnny again gets all 3 kills. It just works out every single time the gank happens. He gets every kill, no matter who he's playing, no matter what situation. There could be a 1% chance he gets the last hit, and he will get it. And this time, fair enough, he does a perfectly timed counter gank onto Rapio. All helped by Trickstank managing to dash away from the initial stun from Rapio. But the Alka and Rapio just abandon Davey to die there, and they just lose all hope of getting any kills there because they then just like all the range damage.
Yeah, it's a look from Pikarinoobs. It's really unfortunate as well, because if there is a singular god that I really... Right, like, this is what I'm saying. If there is a singular god that I do not want getting an early game triple kill, it is Kali. Because Kali is now going to be, like, late game stage by 15 minutes. And that's terrifying.
For me, the one god I don't want to see get an early game triple kill is Thanatos, because then he just instantly invades my jungle and there's nothing I can do about it because I can't fight him.
Right,
at least with
one of
Akali,
the
I
two.
have a chance of fight.
One of the two, then. You happy now, AJ? You happy with one of the two?
Yeah, I'm happy with one of the two. I mean,
Okay.
we can each have our own differing opinions, differing, definition of fear. My fear is flying insects with stings.
Yeah,
That's not what Kali
you know
is. She is like a
Yeah.
buzzing bee in the late game.
A buzzing bee with a giant fork-off chainsaw.
Yes.
Yeah. As Arkle gets another kill over here on the left-hand side onto Alka. That was so fast that I don't know where he went. He disappeared.
No, I don't think Davey knows where he went. He's still looking for him. He's thinking about printing some missing posters for him, sticking him up in the duo lane because my man's just gone. He's coming back now.
Have you seen this
it is not looking good for them. They had the lane with the pressure as well. Don't forget, Ram 9 times out of 10 will get pressure by himself. He doesn't get pressure against his army. And there are certain situations where if the enemy supports more aggressive support like Ymir or Yamojit, then he can lose the pressure as well. But in this matchup, he should have the wave clear. He'll have the sustain over the Ulla naturally because he's going to go into Devos and Ulla's going to go into a Transcendence. And OT's going to go back to the base.
Oh my goodness, look at this combo. There's so much shred. That Captain OT may as well be taking true damage right now. And look at it, they leave the kill. They actively, Beltslap actively leave that kill and go, all right, Johnny is incoming. He wants this kill. We're going to give this to Johnny. And now he is 4-0-0, AJ. That is nearly 100% kill participation. Only one kill not on this Kali.
No, they tried to get that kill. They just couldn't get the kill and went, well, I guess Johnny's here right now, so I guess he has it. Rapio, in a world of hurt, out comes the Spirit of the Night Winds, hits Trix tank, but doesn't hit any of the high-value targets. Potentially
could be really bad for Pikarinoobs, though, as look, sorry, for Beltslap, though, as look at these HPs, back and forward goes Rapio. Two people falling super rapid low, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to pick up any of the kills. Alka is going to pull down here, drops back down into that dwarf form. And unfortunately, after such a good start in that fight, Pikarinoobs aren't able to get a single kill out of it.
They're only 2k down. It's winnable.
It's winnable, yeah. But is it morally winnable, AJ? That's, I think, the other side of the coin we need to look at in games like this, where, yeah, financially, they're fine, really. But emotionally, are they okay?
I mean, yes, it is morally winnable. I think for Beltslap, it's morally unlosable. I think if somehow Beltslap do lose this, they need to have a look at themselves in the mirror. Okay, that happens again, because Trix Tank is just a second jungler at this point. But if Beltslap somehow lose this game from the start that they've got, they need to look at themselves in the mirror and go, why? Why did we do that?
Patience.
Are we sure we're watching EU right now?
Yes. I mean, Beltslap are the one team from Europe that will just run around looking for fights and looking for kills because they want to invade onto buffs as soon as possible. They want to make your life misery because they know that, teams don't want to F6. They just want to keep the pride. They want to get practice in that late game. And there's always a potential to come back. I mean, Pikarinoobs 2 could surrender this game right now, sure. But then there's no chance of them getting back in. There's going to be an 0-2 loss, regardless if they play the game out or not. If they play the game out and they come back into it, somehow win the game, then, that just justifies the fact that it didn't F6.
And if they don't, they still have, as you said, that experience playing from behind, experience trying to suss out these little bits of farm that maybe they wouldn't have been able to in other environments. So we'll definitely have to see, but Rapio, looking for just that farm, is going to get caught up by Johnny, but look at this over the wall, Spirit of the Nine Winds isn't going to connect with Johnny, he's going to walk away. Rapio now trapped in a box, tries to get out the laser hands, is going to connect with Zeros, back and forth he goes, not trying to juggle into the cage. Zeros is going to fall down, Rapio could be out here, but Johnny looking to pick up the kill, he's going to do just that, no reset for him, though he's not the target. Julio now taking a lot of damage, falls down to about a third of his HP, but he's got some heals, and he's got the rest of the team behind him, so he's going to be just fine. And now look at this over on the left-hand side. Johnny is looking for this wraparound, looking potentially to find something that he might not be able to otherwise, but nope, instead, canceling that, going to find more farm over in the left lane potentially, but luckily for Pikarinoobs, all of their buffs are currently down.
Yeah, Johnny looking for some farm, but also looking for that wraparound if he had Blink available. He does not have that up because he does have his ultimate. So I have no doubt that he was going to be looking for a dive at some point underneath that tier 2 tower in mid. And don't forget, that's how ridiculous this sounds, by the way. Tier 2 tower in mid, when a tier 1 is still up at 8 minutes and 30 seconds, they would potentially look for the dive because he has ultimate, because he's that far ahead. Red buff does go away Pikarinoobs too, so they do secure that bit of farm under a bit of contestation from the dual lane of Belt Slap. 9-1 reached the scoreline, and I'm gonna get a sense of deja vu here.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to sound all too familiar, isn't it? Just Pikarinoobs positioning themselves right at the top of this this play slide in the playground. Belt Slap, the big bully kid, stood right behind them, getting ready to just give them a shove right down onto it.
I mean, if the first week was a hero's welcome to the SCC, this one is the harsh reality check that comes straight after. This is the midpoint in the superhero movies where they just get straight out beat by the main villains.
Well, maybe we'll see a Pikarinoobs 2 training montage coming out before week 3, but now it looks like they're just going to have to try and find their way back into this game. How exactly are they going to try and do that?
I mean, as you saw in that fight in the mid lane, they do have good potential to win these fights. It just all comes down to that Spirit of the Nine wins. Does it connect on major targets? In that last fight, no. They do get a kill still onto Zero, so their first kill of the game, and the fight sort of gets a bit of a wash from there. If they hit 2 or 3 people with that Spirit of the Nine wins, it is a fight that they would 100% need to commit to and take, especially given that they've gone for this early horrific emblem.
Speaking of something horrific, Arkil and Davey, the 2 hunters who could be in trouble. Arkil getting dashed on by Rapio, but can he find the kill? Yes, he can. Up into the sky. On the other side, though, goes the hunter from Pikarinoobs. Johnny could be in a bit of trouble here. Gets stunned out. The peel from his teammates are good, but can Davey survive just in time? No, he cannot. Johnny gets the reset, and up in the north side of the realm, Zero is going to find a kill onto Rapio as well. Now it's down to Pikarinoobs looking to try and get out. Half health on some of Belt Slap, but looking like they're looking just fine. These teams in red. They're going to back off, try and find the rest of the farm in the jungle. Johnny finds the reset at the perfect time. Spirit of the Nine wins, as you said. Needed to make the play, but wasn't quite on the mark.
7-0. No assists as well, by the way. So 7-0-0 reads the scoreline for this Carly 11 minutes into the game, and showing no signs of slowing down is Johnny. Well, he has to slow down now. He's just lost his speed buff, but he's going to have that back around his waist in a second. Odd choice of build, though, going in for the Odysseus bow as his first item. This item does scale extremely well off of power, don't forget, and gives a load of attack speed. 40% attack speed, the highest attack speed you can get from any single item. So, just looking to rev up that chainsaw quite early on doesn't feel like the Kali needs that extra bit of power or extra bit of penetration at this point in the game. Just feels that that lead is sufficient enough, and it's proving that that is the case.
Well, I feel like it could also be a way to counter a potential playstyle from Pikarinoobs. They do have a tendency to space a little weirdly in teamfights sometimes. So it could be a conscious choice trying to punish how close they can be to each other. Meanwhile, Captain is going to die again over this right-hand side, but Arkil, conversely, could be in some trouble. Does get stunned out there. Thanks to those astral arrows from Davey, he is going to fall down. Johnny now looking like he could be in some trouble, but instead is going to look to chainsaw through Rapio. That Onibo nearly picks up the hunter, but up into the sky it does! Oh my goodness, I don't know how he finds the kill, but it must be the Oniproc or the leash or both of them, but he does find it. The snipes not on the mark from Davey, and out with his life goes Johnny, not spoiling that perfect slash line. 8-0-0.
Davey just had no vision of the snipes over the wall. He tried to look for them underneath the tier 2 tower, but Johnny just pokes his head around the corner. Goes, you missed me. It goes back around the corner. Davey misses the third and final snipe. Any one of those hit, and he gets the kill. Gets the shutdown bounty. Johnny off the map for about 20 to 30 seconds, and that gives a big amount of reprieve to Pikarinoobs too. But so far, Zeros could be in a world of bother here if the wraparound does come from Alka quite well. Pikarino going to use his tornado over the wall. The Spirit of the Night wins. Juke down. Johnny's here yet again. But Pikarino with the snipe from the squall.
Definitely utilizing that sneeze to its fullest potential. Gonna pick up the kill on the mid lane. This is really good from Pikarinoobs, right? This is the third, I want to say fourth time. Well, all of these kills have been these small individual picks that they've just gotten from Beltzite being out of position or from Pikarinoobs making them out of position, right? If they can keep doing this, do you think they can come back from it? Or is Johnny going to still be this huge problem?
Depends how quickly they can kill Johnny. If they kill Johnny, like, within the next 3-4 minutes, then it's entirely possible that they have an opportunity to get back into the game. But if Johnny goes unkilled, untouched for the next 10 minutes, then Pikarinoobs 2 have very little chance of getting back into this game. Because they need to get this first Gold Fury, they need to start getting some momentum on their side, and they can do that, but the Kali needs to die first.
It's going to be a tall task. Destruction gives Kali some death immunity, so when she's in that spinning blood form, not going to be any chance of killing her, because she gets, well, what is it, AJ? 8 seconds of not being able to be killed? As the Gold Fury is going to go down here. Wow, way over.
Ooh. Beltzite destroyed a Gold Fury, and Rapio unable to contest that, and more arrears will be paid over to Pikarinoobs 2, because once again, the Caster's Curse came out. I said they needed the first Gold Fury. Beltzite decided, you know what, that's a good idea, and take it themselves.
They're listening, dude. They're stream sniping. That's what's happening. They're listening to the broadcast. They're going, hey, that AJ guy, he's got some good ideas.
Hey, you know, stream sniping against the TOS as well. That's just one thing for all of you people out there watching streams, hoping to get into the game with the streamers. Rapio looking to get into some more kills, some more farm for himself. Arkil going to jump away to the safety of his team, and look who's here. It is the police.
Well, this is the biggest downside to Tsukiyomi. He is all in, no out, and he's going to go in and do a bunch of damage, but no way out for the man from the moon. He's going to find his way back home very, very quickly there. He's going to fall down on the left-hand side, and that's going to be really difficult now for Beltzite to try and come back into this. I feel like Rapio, as I said at the start of this game, actually hold that thought. Julio hops on the horse. He's looking for the Kukulkan, but it's a little bit too far away. Now getting turned around on potentially, but Julio is so tanky right now, and that heal is so potent that I don't think he's in any trouble.
Yeah, Julio just doesn't care at this point. He's realized that Kukulkan's built defense with the Breastplate of Valor. This is a build which we have seen a lot of European SEC players build into, just because it makes him so difficult to deal with. But for this build to be utilized effectively, you have to have that lead. You have to be ahead. You have to have the rest of the team rallied around you. And that's just not happening here for Pikarinoobs. It's disjointed from them today. There just doesn't seem to be a big rally for them so far.
And you can see that kind of in the picks and bans as well. Like, we've seen a lot of picks that individually are really, really good, but I don't think either of these drafts have been particularly synergistic with each other. Like, I don't think I can look at either of the comps that they've drafted for the last 2 games and go, oh yeah, these gods really, really work well together. Like, never in my mind have I thought to myself, oh, you know who we should put together? You know who we should put together? We should put together Tsukiyomi and Kukulkan.
True. I think what would have served them well is if I wanted the Tsukiyomi and we got the Tsukiyomi, I think something that just allows him to dip in and out a bit. Like, the Giannis would have done quite well. They synergize quite well together. The Thoth could have also done well to help him poke out from a bit longer range. Anything to help survive the onslaught that is going on right now would have been a blessing in disguise.
Well, luckily the 2 people caged this time around are able to get out pretty easily, but Ulka's going to be the first target here. He's already died 3 times this game so far, and this could be a 4th. Captain Oki's going to take to the grave first, thanks to Johnny's efforts. Now he's going to try and chainsaw into Ulka. Once again, Spirit of the Nine Winds not on the mark, but up into the sky goes Rama trying to find Johnny, but he is going to find his way into that immune field, trying to find the shot this Davey, but not quite going to be able to find it. Arkle finds one of his own. That's going to be Rapio falling down, as well as Ulka, who's going to take his 4th spin of the game. Pikarinu taking one as well, and now it's only Davey left standing. Down he falls. Arkle picks up a 2nd. It looks like Johnny has finally besmirched his perfect KDA. He's going to pick up 4 assists instead of 4 more kills. So he's going to sulk and go back up to the mid lane, while the rest of his team go and do Fire Giant.
He doesn't need to be there for Fire Giant. That could have been a pentakill for him there as well. Just has to settle for the 1 and 4 assists like you did mention. Mid tier 1 going to fall down while the rest of the team takes care of the Fire Giant about 18 minutes. Again, a bit of deja vu in that sense, but this time around, Pikarinoobs 2 have got themselves 4 kills on the board. Pyromancer next objective, tier 1 tower still not taken by Johnny. Quite strangely, could have just taken that by himself before going into the jungle. It's still getting the rest of the farm here. So Bloodslap put themselves up about 10,000 gold in the lead. 18.5 minutes into the game. The experience difference through the roof as well. 13,000. This is the point where Bloodslap need to make a whole host of mistakes if Pikarinoobs 2 are to have a chance of getting back into the game. And you're asking Bloodslap of all teams to make those mistakes.
For sure, and it's well, yeah, it's looking rough. Already 18 minutes in, level 20 is the Kali. Rapio trailing behind by 5 whole levels. That's jungle diff right there.
Not often you get to say jungle diff and it actually means something and not really be just this meme thing that goes around as, oh, you got 1 more kill, jungle diff. No, this time it legitimately is. Johnny has been on an absolute tear. I mean, Rapio's done what he can to try and help the rest of his team out. But every single time he's done so, Johnny's just been there to one-up him and just nullify his impact completely.
And another position where that impact's really been felt has been over here in the support role. Once again, Kali falls down. Arkel's going to pick up a kill of his own. Alka's going to fall down here as well, probably in just a second. Zeros takes credit for that. But looking over to the support role, as I just said, 13 to 16 of the levels, but over here on the right side, once again, I'm getting interrupted by Johnny, who's aiming another kill onto Captain Oti, gets the reset, now jumping over the wall. He's going to go onto Pikarino. Can he catch the Sky Lizard? The two's already been expended. Can Johnny out-sustain through the whirlpool? The Aegis is going to come out. Could he fall down? No, he doesn't. Thank you to all of that power from Johnny. Chainsaw's going to come through. The heal's going to be even better. Not going to take him down with you this time. 13-0-4 on the Kali. And, well, AJ, GG.
Yeah, that's a GG. That should be the end. And they made a mistake last week of letting the other team go, okay, Rapio doesn't even exist anymore. I'm sorry, he has just disappeared off the face of the planet. This Titan's probably going to be the same fate as well. Davey is also quite squishy, as is Alka, so they could also look to be perished before the Titan does. But 20.5 minutes into this game, a Bloodslap take a clinical 2-0 and send out a statement of intent to the rest of the SCC.
Bloodslap were not happy about looking.
Oh, they weren't.
Looking
they were
mortal.
Not happy whatsoever.
They were not happy about being made to look mortal last week. So they went up against the newbies from SOC. It's like when you get put into jail, right? And like the aim that like the stereotypical movie thing is when you get into jail, you gotta find the biggest, baddest man in there, and you gotta absolutely smash him to pieces. That is what Bloodslap just did. But instead of finding the biggest, baddest man in there, they just found the new guy on the block, and they were like, hey, don't mess with us.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's just like the prison scene from Deadpool 2, where where that kid goes into the prison. Again, he looked to try and, do what you said, which is go on the biggest, baddest guy, and he just gets swept aside in one punch, knocked out completely, just done. And this was the reality check that Pikarinoobs, I think, needed after the highs that they got into that week 1 victory over the Pappies. And they need to come back looking more like a team in the next week if they are to survive and look to try and push up for that top 3 spot, which is, after today's performance, looking a long way away.
It's going to be a trek for them. Like we were talking about earlier, would love to see Pikarinoobs going back out and doing a training montage before week 3 hits around. But we'll have to see. I think they'll definitely still be doing good against the other teams in the SCC. But
yeah, they should
at the end of the day, this is Bloodslap. And Bloodslap stand head and shoulders above the rest as this pinnacle of semi-pro players at the moment. And it's going to be hard for anyone to go against them. And I don't blame Pikarinoobs for falling short this time.
No, I don't blame them as well. It was a tough first 2 weeks for them. They came out with probably more than they expected. And to go up against the 3-time back-to-back-to-back SEC champions of Europe, no, it just didn't work out for them this week, and back to the drawing board for next.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there isn't really much that we can say more about this set, but we've got another one brewing in the background, so we'll have to throw you guys away to another quick break whilst we get that set up for you. Until then, stay right where you are.